Alrighty, Will. So this is the first analysis. I don't know if your dad's going to show you this or if just your dad's going to watch it or whatever the case may be. On the top, I have your mechanics, and on the bottom, I have Jacob deGrom's mechanics. So I'm going to play them simultaneously, and I just want you to kind of watch them, see what you guys are doing, and then we'll talk about it here. All right, so let's first of all go to your mechanics in general, and then we'll kind of bring in Jacob deGrom's mechanics. Let me get his all aligned. So we go to your mechanics up here. Let's talk about, first of all, your setup. Let me see if I get this. So first of all, we have a really, really great setup. The only thing, as you'll see right here, and I talked to you and your dad about this, is the fact that whenever we are set up, you mentioned that the weight is on the heel of your foot, and that's the wrong thing to do. The reason being because the human head weighs 7 pounds, right? So wherever your weight is, that's where the head is going to go, which is going to lead you to, especially in that case, falling off to the left ear. So that's first thing we need to continue to work on is make sure that we are level and here on the balls of our feet. That's step one. So then we get to the load, and another thing and this is also why I do this lesson analysis, is kind of just seeing what I need to do. Watch what your leg is doing. Realistically, we want your leg to come straight up, right? Watch what your leg is doing. It's going automatically back. Now, here's the thing. Here is the devil's advocate to that is, well, you're getting hinged and you're driving towards home plate. If I were to clear all this, watch what you're doing. You're starting to drive towards home plate. However, we can still do that if we get this to go straight up. So that's something else we're going to work on. And whenever we look at Jacob deGrom's, I'll explain why we're doing that. So then we get to here. Now, I just want you to watch where, of course, as we also talked about, bringing the legs up. But not the legs up, the glove up. But here's why we do that. Watch where the legs separate and look how far back our arm is now. Right? So we're starting separation here, and we're not pulling the ball out till right there, right? So we've already made progress towards home plate, where realistically, probably we should have already broke our hands by that point. And then that's making us get to here, and already, even before, because we'll watch Jacob deGrom do it, even before we strike here with our foot, we're already all the way opened up here. Look how much open we're already, to the point that I'm already starting to see your chest towards home plate. So that's something else too. Now, another thing that we'll eventually talk about is getting this arm working here. Now, here is the thing, okay? Realistically, we want to get this arm above our shoulder. And here is why we want to get it above our shoulder. Because once we get it above our shoulder, we're then keeping ourselves from having to kind of short arm the baseball. Now, if you look into a lot of things about whenever players are under the shoulder, a lot of people will tell you Tommy John surgery. That's a big thing. So whenever we go to Jacob deGrom, I'll kind of show you. Actually, let me get to show you right here. Watch where his arm is. His arm, right? We're good here, right? We're good. And look at here versus here, right? Whenever he's coming set here, his arm, if we were to put a line here on our shoulder, and if we were to do the same thing here, right? Look where Jacob deGrom's shoulder or elbow is. Look where your elbow is. So that's something we're also going to work on going forward, because the main thing about it is keeping our arm healthy, okay? So that's why we do that, all right? I just wanted to show you that before we get into Jacob deGrom's mechanics more so. So let's go back to this point right here. I'm fine with us being this way with our shoulders. I just want to bring this elbow just a little bit up. So specifically also, we're good to here, but also another thing I just want to show you too. Look where this glove is going, okay? So I'm going to get actually, let me get a squiggly arrow here. Watch where this glove, oh, what on God's green earth was that? Okay, that's kind of weird. I've never seen that happen with that before. But just watch where, actually, just watch where this glove is going, right? So it's coming around versus we need to instead get to here and then tuck it into ourselves, right? You're somewhat doing that, but it's mainly that you're throwing it around your body, which is also leading to us opening up with right here. Now, you do a pretty good job right here. If I were to analyze here and here, right, both of y'all are over your front knee, which is really, really good right here, right? Now, Jacob deGrom, obviously, MLB caliber pitcher, so he's going to have a lot more, and he's a lot taller. Then we look at the finish here, right? And look at the difference here, right? So this is another thing we're going to work on, is getting this to be straight when we finish. Watch Jacob deGrom. He's got the soft landing, but then straightens it out. And we'll talk about it in the next lesson. Or actually, you know what? I'll just kind of go briefly into it here if we're going to talk about Jacob deGrom. So let's get you back to even here. Now we're going to talk about Jacob deGrom. So he gets to here, and if you watch his rhythm, watch his rhythm. So this is his rhythm. He goes 1, 2, right? That's his rhythm every single time when he's coming out of the windup. 1, 2, right? And whenever he's bringing this leg up, he's also bringing his hands up, right? Watch. Or actually, even so, Jacob deGrom starts his hands prior. And I'll tell you why, okay? I actually never even saw this until then. But let me explain why Jacob deGrom does this and why it's okay for Jacob deGrom to do it. Keep in mind, Jacob deGrom is the best pitcher in baseball, which means that he has probably one of the most sound mechanics in baseball, meaning he's also got one of the best rhythms in baseball. So he has worked years and years and years on understanding, okay, to be on time with my entire body, I got to lift my hands up first, and then I could start lifting up my knees, because watch what happens, right? If he were to go maybe on time, his rhythm would be off. Now, when we're first starting out, the goal is to get on rhythm, and that is by bringing both up at the same time. Now, obviously, as you get older, sometimes we got to change up some things. That's what Jacob deGrom does. So he lifts it, and look at this. He is on time. So he gets to here, and he waits at the top. So instead, he brings this up first, and he waits it there. If I were to draw a line here, he does not go below that line with his hands until he's starting to make progress towards home plate. Now, look at where he's bringing this leg up too, right? He's bringing it up straight, right? But look, he has this hinge at the butt, and he's starting to go, he's starting to go towards home plate, right? So that's what I'm trying to tell Will right now, is we want to get that leg to go straight up, but we're also trying to get him to hinge at the butt, which is what he's doing now. Colin, if you're watching this video, or just whoever's watching this video, the biggest thing right now is, especially at Will's age, you don't want to overload him with information. So what I recommend doing is work on it step by step by step. If you ever heard the term that Rome wasn't built in a day, that's why we do this. Now, obviously, the first thing I'm going to work on is his footwork, right? Because in order to build a home, you have to build a solid base. So that's the plan right now. So, but going back on to Jacob deGrom's after my little spiel there. So going on to Jacob deGrom, he gets to here, and he's starting to make progress towards home plate, and he gets all the way out. But look right here, okay? You're just going to be able to see it just slightly. He does not open up until his foot is struck in the ground. He is still closed right now. I could see only his chest going at me, not towards home plate, versus if we look at yours, you haven't even foot strike yet, and we could start to see your chest towards home plate. Jacob deGrom, on the other hand, keeps himself closed the whole way there, and then when he strikes, look at the hip-shoulder separation. Hips go first, then his shoulders. And then he's got this soft little knee here. He's got the soft knee, which you do also really, really well. We have the soft knee, but watch what he does. He then gets it to straighten out like this. So that is the purpose why we're doing that. I want you to think like that we're trying to catapult ourselves over it, right? We don't want to keep, actually, let me go down here. We don't want to keep ourselves like that because then it's a lot harder to get over ourselves versus if we have a solid landing point like this, like so, and then we're able to make that into this, then it's a lot easier to generate momentum to go over ourselves. So that's kind of the lesson breakdown for this week. And pretty much it's going to be a lot of work, but honestly, Will has really, really solid mechanics for his age. And from just working today, I know he's going to be a really, really good lesson for me, one that I'm really going to work forward to working with. But we do have a lot of things to do, and I'm really excited for this because Will's going to be kind of, especially for his age, he's going to be my project player. He's going to be kind of one of the kids that I invest a lot in. I work with a lot of young kids, but I also work with a lot of older kids. My two big actually, I have 3 investment projects right now. My first kid, which is Sal, he is currently a junior in high school. His younger brother, Enzo, or Vince, who is a freshman in high school. And then my third project player is going to be Will. Now, I do have some players who are very, very advanced for their age, but they're not my project players because I'm just starting to work with them for pitching. Or that they are advanced with pitching that I know they're going to be good as is. Now, Sal and Enzo, they are my project players because they're in high school. Once you get to high school, you become an automatic project player because my goal then is getting you to college. That's my goal. Right now, Will's one of my project players, but it's because I see a lot of potential. Now, a quick refresher on what potential means. Potential doesn't mean that I see that he's going to make an immediate impact or he's going to immediately be extremely good. Not what potential means. I see 4 to 5 years down the line, we got something we can work with, especially when he gets into high school. That is a player we can work with, especially for his velocity at his age, for his mechanics at his age. We can continue to develop that. Now, whenever we get to high school, hopefully if we're still working together by that point, that will be, let's see here. He'll go into high school when he's 14, 15, so that'll be, 5 years down the line? Hopefully if we're still working, if I get to still work with Will by that point, we've already built a really solid base for mechanics. We've also built a really solid arsenal because then we'll have gotten into being able to work with different pitches as he gets older and gets more strength in his arm. And from there, once we get into high school, that's where we're going to work on our velocity and kind of get ourselves ready to go into college. But that's kind of the video analysis, kind of my whole plan for Will right now. It's a very long-term plan, as you could tell, but those are kind of the plans I'm most excited for. So I appreciate y'all bringing him in. Really, really excited to keep working with him. And Will, if you've been watching this, keep being awesome, buddy.